The Wednesday week is sponsored by Oddballs, a speciality. Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
My name's John McClure from Rovrum and Arsenal, and I listen to the Wednesday week.
There's a chance here, a great save, a turner from McClare. Might come, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving that.
The Wednesday week! Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line, first of all, we have Fudge. Hello there, Fudge, old boy.
Good evening, folks. How's it going, everybody? Is everybody all right tonight? Everybody feeling upbeat and whatnot?
Top class old chap. We've got Victoria. Hello, my dear. How are you?
Good evening, my lord. Am I right? Thank you. Are you?
Very well, thank you very much. And James, how the devil are you all doing?
Hello, good evening. I want to say a very special good evening to Doc Fudge. If anyone's been following Fudge on social media, they'll realise that the last 2 days has been a rather excited chap.
I've had quite the time of it. I'll tell you what it was. For those that don't know, I celebrated the Back to the Future Day in quite some gusto, and I got obliterated drunk on Tuesday night. Ushered it in dressed as Doc Brown, but me and my deputy manager at work, we looked like Jimmy Savile and Harry Potter's bigger cousin. To be fair, I mean, I was happy that I stayed in character all night. You know what I mean? But,
that sounds like a brilliant film idea.
and yesterday I spent 7 hours in a cinema theatre in blistering heat, watching all three movies, and I think I screamed at 4 people, which you know, James, you and I are going down to the Charlton game, and if I start complaining at somebody, just leave me to it. Okay, just leave me to it.
I'll keep my distance.
It's impressive to watch, and if you are interested in these complaints, hit me up later on.
Right then, ladies and gents, let's crack on, and we've got quite a bit to run through. First of all, let's start with the Hull game. I must admit, I was a little bit concerned about this one. Obviously, Hull are a decent team. They've got a lot of Premiership players in that team, and to be fair, I think we more than matched them, didn't we?
Do you know, it feels like that game was ages ago.
Absolutely.
It seems like such a long time ago now.
Busy week.
I'm not very good at remembering football games at the best of times, but it's like a distant memory now. All things considered, it was a good point, wasn't it? They're a strong team. They have, one of, if not the best midfield in this league. Their strength in midfield, their movement in midfield was really impressive. But we pretty much matched them. There was a period right at the start and probably a period in the second where Hull were on top. But we had periods on top as well. And there was probably little to pick between the teams. So a fair result.
I think you're right. I think Hernandez is a quality striker at this level. I mean, he's been around a bit, and I thought I think you're right about our midfield. We did get overawed a little bit, and I think Bannon didn't have his best game for us. But I think one of the standout performances for me, even though I've just said that about the midfield, has to be Kieran Lee and Lucas. What do we call him on here? Jaw.
Zhao.
Yeah, Lucas Zhao, I thought was. Made a nuisance of himself, and I like that. And I think it spells the end of Big Dave? Not in the slightest, because I think if we've got 2 strikers who are going to absolutely cause a nuisance like that, then I'm happy, because I think Zhao and Nuhu really went to town, and I was really happy with them. I thought they were great.
I would have to say that Sam Hutchinson, I thought, was my man of the match. I thought he was so strong. He got the defence covered. He got around the pitch a bit. He probably should have been sent off, but he got away with it. I think it was a really good, strong Hutch performance. And we've said this before, haven't we? But with all the players that we brought in, Lee and Hutchinson in midfield just blow away everyone else. We'll talk about the team that played against QPR a bit later on. But players like McGugan now, who was by far our best midfielder last season, can't even hold a torch anywhere near Lee and Hutchinson at the moment.
No, I mean, obviously, Hutch did have a cracking game, but it would be remiss of us not to discuss his possible red card, really. I mean, the first one, the yellow, it wasn't the best tackle in the world. He does have a bit of a streak in him when it comes to sort of jumping in. Looking at it from an unbiased point of view, do we think he should have seen red?
Well, the rules have changed. I don't know if you're aware of this, but this became evident on Tuesday night that nothing now is a red card offence. They don't exist in football anymore. So that's why it was a yellow.
Well, I personally don't remember much of that match because I started drinking with James at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Sorry, my bad.
My highlight for me was that we were constantly texting Eddie all the way through, are you here, are you here, are you here? And at half time, the man himself just appeared. And that's pretty much all I remember. So, yeah, he probably should have been sent off. I watched him back on the Football League show. But other than that, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed my life.
She's a top correspondent, is Harvey.
I've just thought, I genuinely think that with our new showbiz connections in David Garrido, we should get, instead of, it's normally, is it Johnny Jackson, is that his name? That normally comes and does the Sheffield Wednesday games, or, instead of them, just hand over to Victoria and James and just have them 7 or 8 beers in, just talking about football. And then just imagine, where's Eddie?
More than up for that.
I can't keep up.
You did a very good job of keeping up, Victoria, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, dear. What a mess. It was a nice day out. We all had a lovely day. I saw you onto the bus. It
was like Mum waving us on.
It was.
It's a beautiful moment in the history of the Wednesday Week podcast.
Can I just reiterate to our listeners that when she says bus, it's a normal bus. It's not for any organisation where it's like a Make-A-Wish.
And can I just reiterate that my mother has never waved me off drunk. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was a cracking game, and I really were worried about this one. So I certainly think I'd have taken a point before. Of course, it's lovely, absolutely fantastic to see Fernando getting another goal in, and how happy did they look afterwards. I know there's goal celebrations,
so
but oh my word!
I just want to squidge his little
face. Absolutely, and I must admit, it was an incredibly well took goal to be sort of spinning and cracking into the corner from where it did. It looks like one of those things that you do when you're a 6-year-old, but it's an incredibly difficult technique as well. So, no, brilliant, fantastic.
Well, Fudge might be able to tell us about that after football times last week. Is that something, as a 6-year-old, you did, Fudge?
Or were you doing headers and keepy-ups?
Well, no, I'm that guy that when they go, Fudge, go and warm the keeper up, and I just start lashing the ball at him as hard as I can. They're flying all over everywhere, and then actually, ironically, on Sunday, we had a penalty shootout, and you sit there, who's going to go the first 5, and right on the back of a fag bucket and all that nonsense, and yeah, there was no way I was taking one. I've seen my warming up of the keeper, and I can't get one on target.
At least you know you're.
Sign him up. Sign him up.
I'm far too old. Honestly, my ankles feel like they're attached by Rivita at the minute.
So after the whole game, I introduced James to a friend of Cavendish Cancer Care called Mark Green, who is actually unbelievably running 2,015 miles in 2015 for Cavendish
Wow, that's
Cancer
amazing.
Care. He is unbelievable. Like, the guy, physically has changed completely, mentally he's changed completely. He's such a legend, and he's a huge Wednesday fan. I know James has seen him at away games and recognised him straight away. He sits near James in the ground, which is quite odd, because I sat with James on Saturday. So it was quite strange to see him there, and there's this big link. And James got to interview him after the match about everything that he'd done for Cavendish and the amount of miles he'd run and whatever else. I think he's up to 1,700 miles now.
I've never run 1,700 miles in my life.
Unbelievable. It's an average of 5.5 miles a day, I believe, for the whole year. So this guy he's gone from, he ran 10k for us last year, and now he's running 2,015 miles for us this year. So unbelievable. We'll put his sponsorship link under the podcast. Please sponsor him. It's a huge Wednesday out. It goes home and away. And here's James's interview.
It's the Wednesday week. We are in the Riverside Cafe. I have a guest with me. Tell me your name.
Mark Green.
And you're doing something a little bit unusual.
Yeah, it's 2015 miles in 2015 for Cavendish Cancer Care, which means I've got to cover on foot 2,015 miles in the year.
And whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm on about nearly 1,700 now.
Wow. So you're feeling quite confident that you'll manage it?
Yeah, I'm hoping to finish for. I've just entered the Percy Pud, which is a 10k race up at Logsley, which is not far from where I live. And I'm hoping for that to be the finish. That's December 6th.
So tell us about some of the things you've done so far.
Basically, just running, walking, doing everything I can. I've run over the Snake Pass when it was shut, which was quite good. I've run back from Woodhead in Manchester when I was working over there. And basically just running as much as I can, running and walking everywhere I can.
So what was it that kind of made your decision to do this?
I had a friend on week today, John, and his wife's mum died of cancer, and Cavendish were quite big in supporting Katie and the family while she was going through a treatment. So I just, after all charity, to just pick them, basically, yeah.
And how's the support been for you so far?
Not too bad, actually. There's been a regular core of support, and I'm hoping that once I get near the finish, people will pick up and say, right, it's nearly done. Now's my time to go in and support him and donate.
Have you got kind of a figure in mind as to how much you'd like to raise?
Yeah, I think I'd like to raise £2,015. I'm currently on about 800. But I think there's going to be a big collection, one at Wednesday games end of season. Some of my friends are hoping to arrange that. So yeah, that's basically my target.
If anyone's listening that would like to donate, how do they go about that?
I've got a Just Giving page, and also obviously you can donate with text. And I've got a Facebook page as well, which is Green is 2015 miles in 2015.
Well, yeah, I've got to ask you about the game today. What was your take on it?
I thought we played well. I thought for a very good Premier League side, I thought we matched them. I thought Middlesbrough come a few months ago and turned us over completely. But today, I thought the teams evolved, the teams looked well. Happy with a draw. I don't think we deserve to win it, but happy with how teams developed and the draw were good, yeah.
If you had to make a call on where you think Wednesday are going to finish the season?
I'd like to think we can get top 6. I'd like, optimistically, top 6. Definitely top 10. Yeah, I don't, yeah, so.
Thank you very much.
All right, no worries. You're welcome.
Oh, what a marvellous interview that is. And please do, if you look at the podcast right now, just underneath you'll see a link to Mark's sponsorship form, if you like. So please do jump over there and give the chap a coin or two. It's fantastic work he's doing. Absolutely brilliant.
I just need to check two things. Do any of these coins end up at Rotherham United? Because just for the fans,
no.
just to check. And how many pints in were you, James?
I kind of feel the need to apologise because I don't think that interview was as drunken as I can do.
I think we're about 5 or 6 pints in, so you weren't drunk.
I appreciate I set the bar pretty high with David Garrido.
It's all downhill from there.
I feel I've let everyone down a little bit with that one. But
if it's any consolation, I was too drunk.
Oh wow! I tell you what, actually, this is actually quite refreshing to listen to because obviously being in the south, 5 or 6 pints is a good night out for some of these people down here. You know what I mean? Whereas you lot go, yeah, I'm 5 in, I'm warmed up.
So, of course, the next thing, we're off down to QPR on a Tuesday night. It's another long trip on a Tuesday for people. But, of course, not everybody had to make that trip because there was a wonderful...
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
A wonderful incentive at Hillsborough to go and watch the game at the ground, surrounded by Wednesday fans and drinking beer. Victoria, James, I believe you attended this magical evening.
We did.
We were there. We were there.
We had a mad panic to get there, didn't we, James? We couldn't get parked.
Yep.
We rushed up and we were faced with an absolute shambles.
Let's be fair, right? When we got there, it was about 7 o'clock.
It was good. It was good.
All the screens. So there were 3 large projector screens and 2 kind of normal size tellies, wall mounted on the wall. In fact, there were 3, weren't there? Because there was one behind us as well.
Yeah, but
and they just had like the television view from the TV gantry at Loftus Road, looking out over the pitch, so we could see the players warming up. And you were thinking, this is quite good, actually. This is quite good. And then Rob O'Neill and David Hurst, who were doing the commentary, I assumed they were actually going to be at the game, but they weren't. They were in that little room where they take all new signings, where they interview them for the Wednesday website. They were in there. So the screens all went to this split screen. So on one side, it was Rob O'Neill and David Hurst putting the microphones on.
There's a big cheer.
And it had the word Hillsborough underneath it. And then on the other side was the shot from Loftus Road with the words Loftus Loftus Road underneath it. And I'm thinking,
Brilliant.
This is quite smooth. This is quite professional. And it was like that right up until about 5 minutes to kick off. And then it started going a bit wrong.
Oh, God, it was...
So it started with the screen started flickering. Every 10 seconds or so, it would flicker off for a second and then come back on.
And at first, James, to be fair, everyone was going, "Oh, hey!" every time.
Yeah, it was funny to start with.
After the 20th time, it was a bit of a.
But the other thing as well is that there was deathly silence because the commentary wasn't working.
Oh, God.
So there was no sound being pumped into the room at all, and no one dared make any real noise because any noise you made was reverberated right around this room. So everyone's whispering to each other.
We were whispering, weren't we? Saying, "I feel really awkward." Yeah. Do you feel awkward?
Don't speak too loud. They can hear you.
I don't want to say anything, James. Do you? No.
But to be fair, that was the good bit. It got worse. It got a lot worse. So then what happened is Rob O'Neill and David Hurst then appeared in the room, at the corner of the room in the 1867 lounge. They were both given a microphone and you could hear them doing a sound check. And we thought, they're going to do the commentary actually in the room. All right, that could work. Then next thing, someone snatches the microphone off them and Radio Sheffield comes on. And we work out that what they've done is they've actually turned a radio on, put a microphone next to it, and are playing out the Radio Sheffield commentary over the speaker system. But, fair enough, we've got a commentary, that's all right. Then the three big screen, the projector screens, they go off. In fact, someone changed them onto Sky Sports News, then changed it onto MTV, so we've got some music videos going out, and then they just die. There's just this green glow, which is all you can see on those screens. So we've now got two 32-inch TVs showing the entire match. Now,
I did enjoy the car advert, though. There was a car advert with dancing people on for quite a while.
It was probably more entertaining than that part of the match, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, about half an hour into the game, I decided to go for a wee, and I'm blaming myself. I must have done something, because when I came back, the other two TVs were off, and the commentary had gone. There was nothing at all. So you got people kind of hurriedly refreshing on Twitter, trying to keep up with what was happening. It never really kind of recovered from there, did it? They got the two TVs came back on about 5 minutes before the end of the first half.
So bearing in mind, there were
stayed on for the
300
second
people.
half, but...
There were 300 people in that room trying to watch two 32-inch TVs on the wall. And to be fair, they did get the radio working, but it did sound like a thunderstorm live at Radio Sheffield.
It was a bit crackly, wasn't it? It wasn't
a little bit.
It wasn't great. And you know what? The thing is, they had a go, and it didn't work. And I'm not particularly the thing that I'm angry about, right? The thing that I'm angry about.
Sorry, James. I love that. I love that we're paying 50 quid a ticket for some games, but they had a go.
Yeah.
It was only a tenner. It was a tenner, and we got a pint.
I choose to believe that there were people hurriedly rushing round behind the scenes trying to get all that working, and they weren't just sat there going, "Don't know. Have you wiggled the mouse?" I hope that they were doing their best to try and get it all up and running again. The thing that's annoyed me about it is that I've not missed a single kick of Sheffield Wednesday season so far this season. I've seen every single kick of every single game that's been played, and when all the TVs and everything went off. Nothing. I had no idea how we were doing, and that was a horrible feeling, and I really hated that. And that was the bit that really annoyed me. I thought, at least if I stayed at home, I could keep up with it on the radio. I could probably have found a dodgy stream on the internet and watched it there. Here I am in our own football stadium, and I'm missing the match, and that was really crap. And we've not had a refund, so that was crap. But anyway, that's it. Apart from that, it was brilliant.
Well, I did speak to someone outside. I don't know if we've got the audio, but one guy did say that instead of giving us a refund, why not give us a free ticket to the next one that they do? And then they're not losing any money. They're going to get beer money again, and they're going to get food money again. So let's just do that. But as far as I know, there's been nothing official come out of Hillsborough to say, sorry, that was an absolute shambles. There's been absolutely nothing. And, it was, although, it's only a tenner and whatever else, we did fuss about trying to get each other there on time and whatever else, and it was an absolute joke.
Well, that sounds like a lovely night out there for you, lads. How drunk did you get? To be fair, Vic, I know that after a few swills you can get a bit aggressive. Is there anybody that that took the brunt of it?
No, we had a few pints between us all. That was about it. The queue was probably 30 people deep at most times. James joined it at the worst possible time and queued for ages. It was it was reasonable. It was, 12 quid for 3 pints. It wasn't horrendous like you'd expect, but I wouldn't expect to go back again without getting a refund or some sort of discount.
My favourite bit of the evening was when,
God.
evidently now, friend of the podcast, as you'll have heard earlier, John McClure of Reverend and the Makers, turned up and decided he couldn't get a seat, so he was just going to sit on the windowsill.
He doesn't play by the rules.
It doesn't play by the rules. Sat on the windowsill, and then when the TV started going wrong, apparently he said to his mate, "So I'm just popping outside for a bit," and just went. He went home. Gone. No one saw him again for the rest of the evening.
How rock and roll is that?
Probably jumped in his helicopter and went down a Loftus Road to watch it. Second half over the top.
But although it was a disappointing evening for obviously you chaps that went, the game itself, again, this is another team that's come down from the Premiership, and they're an interesting one, QPR. We said it last week. Eddie was quite adamant that they were absolutely terrible and would absolutely flatten them. And to be fair, this is a game. After the match, with hindsight, we really should have got a little bit more than a point out of, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I'm going to have another rant now because I don't particularly like kind of resorting to just slagging off referees, because I think, you create enough, you win the match anyway. But we were absolutely robbed in that game, and that was a disgrace. And that referee should be. I know they can relegate referees, can't they? Well, the same referee that cocked up at Wigan last season because he didn't send their keeper off for pretty much assaulting whoever it was that went past him. That was just absolutely ridiculous. On the very small screens that we had in front of us at the beanbag, we couldn't really see either of the debatable challengers. But watching the highlights back, I just don't get it. Just absolutely unbelievable. Shocking refereeing. Terrible.
No, you're quite right. I mean, it really was utterly awful refereeing. But again, it's difficult to. I don't want to be one of those fans that comes out and blames a referee. I don't want to be Steve Evans. But you've got to say, it was just awful, absolutely awful. I mean, we started the game. Let's try and focus on the positives of the game, shall we? And obviously try not to be those sorts of fans, even though it was dire beyond belief. 7 changes from the whole game. Palmer, Lubens, Wiggins, Sugu, Semedo, McGugan and Nuhu all coming in. And to be fair, I mean, to make such a massive change in the team and still come out with a point against a decent side. I mean, it does give me a great faith in Carlos's rotation policy. Again, we saw it against Newcastle. We've seen it again here, and it doesn't seem to affect the side too much, really, does it?
I think it's starting to cohege at the minute. I mean, if you'd have said to us at the start, when we had that wobble. After week 3 in the season, and we were sat there bemoaning this, and it's all fell apart.
Shut up.
And we were sat here. We were sat here.
I
saying
never said anything.
It just needs to cohese, apart from you, Vic. And
I was perfectly happy.
And I think it's starting to. Yeah, you were perfectly happy because photos of Darryl Lackman's getting sent out. But I think it's starting to fall into place. I mean, these were 2 fixtures that we should have been not concerned about, but we should have approached with a little bit of caution. And we've managed to take 2 points from 2 sides that were playing Premier League football not that long ago. And I like that about it. I mean, I also like that Carlos has come on and said, well, we've took 2 points from 6, and I'm a bit disappointed about it. And I like that. I like that, 2 points from 2 good sides ain't good enough. That's good. Do you know what I mean? We want to win every game. Been on Owls Talk. We know what it's like. We know what they're after.
It's also worth noting that our squad rotation this year, you compare that to last year, and you think about putting out a second string side, it would have been horrendous. And this year, we every single player, every single position has got a good player to back it up. And that's something that we do need to be positive about, definitely.
That's so true, because we said when we were looking at the team on Tuesday night, and we said last season, not only would that have been our first choice starting 11, but we'd have been over the moon at that first choice starting 11. Just 12 months ago, would have been absolutely over the moon. Aside from all ranting and raving about the referee and stuff, I actually thought it was a really good performance, and I think that we held our own. I think we were the better team. Probably annoyingly, we probably should have won regardless of the referee being an absolute utter idiot. And we were dead unlucky. I'm thinking as well with squad rotation and stuff. Like in Spain, how Barcelona have like a Barca B team that plays in their equivalent of like League One or League Two. Maybe we should seriously consider this. We should have a Wednesday B team.
We do. It's called Rovrum.
And let them. I was going to say we could stick them in League One and let them beat United every week. That'd be brilliant.
And it must be said as well. One chap that I did think had a really, really good game, and I mean, he's had his critics was Wiggins. Obviously, since the deal or poodle or whatever we decided to call him so far, since he's poodle. Since he's been in the squad, Wiggins hadn't had much of a look in, but he did have a pretty good game, to be fair, didn't he?
He was really good at Newcastle as well. I think that he didn't start very well, did he, for us? And we wrote him off a little bit. But I think since then he was great at Newcastle. He was great at QPR. I think he's probably won me over a bit. And maybe he has got a part to play with us.
Of course, the game has left us a little bit battle scarred as well. Obviously, Sugu will be out for a while, by the sounds of it now, with a shoulder injury. Looks like he's and let's face it, he's been a cracking sort of impact sub when he's come on in.
It looked like a really nasty dislocation. That really,
I mean, he was
really
absolutely
nasty.
flying when he got took out, wasn't he? It really was shifting, and
we all felt that in the room as well. I think, although we could only see it in 2 inches. I think we all went when it happened. It looked really.
It's not the size, Victoria. It's what you do with it, my darling. And
Daryl.
No, Daryl, it's just the size. And of course, Forestieri sort of limped off at half time as well, and it's a little bit of a worry for us that we might be missing him for a while.
Yes.
Isn't he?
We didn't see that bit.
No, we were outside trying to track down John McClure, weren't we?
We were, but he'd already gone.
I'm sure I saw on Twitter earlier that is he suffering from fatigue?
Oh.
Aren't we all? I'm suffering from fatigue. I want 20 grand a week. Christ.
It has been a rather rough week for us all, hasn't it? Oh no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erection?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. Right, so let's crack on again, because tomorrow we're off to Rotherham. Of course, we're just a little bit late sending out the podcast a week because of Fudge's Back to the Future type antics.
Not even so.
Don't even care. But certainly, obviously, tomorrow night we've got Rotherham at Rotherham, and this is one that we, not to be disrespectful, actually, to be utterly disrespectful to Rotherham fans, we should be absolutely mulling them, shouldn't we?
Do you know what I'm really excited about? I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have a drink, and I'm going to watch it on a 40-inch TV with no interruptions. Because I've got Sky Sports. I'm living the dream. I'm going to, in fact, just to wind up my other half, to make him feel the pain I felt the other night, I might keep flicking it onto a green screen every so often.
Put MTV on every now and again.
Yeah.
The authentic Hillsborough experience.
And then I'm going to save up a bit of microwave beef inside a dry bread bun and charge him £2 for the privilege.
That sounds like the best day out.
Could you make a few notes from your 40-inch TV experience of what the game's like? Because
yes, I think I may do.
I'm meeting my mates in the Sheffield Tap relatively early in the afternoon to have a few kind of pre-match beers. So I'm not anticipating remembering a great deal about it.
I will make my notes.
I have a bit of an issue with that, you know. For the Hull game, obviously it was the same time as Jurgen Klopp's first game in charge of Liverpool, a dour 0-0 draw with Tottenham Hotspur. And I think I need to have a big shout out to Alex Bastin at the Bedford Arms in Southampton, who I bullied, because he's only a little lad, into playing the commentary for the Sheffield Wednesday Hull game, because they've got the ability to put it on different screens. And bear in mind, there's nobody down south gives a chuff about Hull City and Sheffield Wednesday, and And Spurs and Liverpool, it's a big old.
Doesn't
thing.
Neil Warnock still live down there? Surely he still gives a chuff.
Well, there you are then. Just him then. Just him. Seeing who he's, which Yorkshire club apart from us he can go and manage. But yeah, I want to do a big shout out for that. And I'm just thinking it's going to be Friday night. I'm going to go to that same pub and I'm going to shout at that poor kid again. Bless him.
What's his name?
Alex Bastin.
Sorry, Alex.
Sorry,
Please excuse our Fudge. He doesn't mean it. He's a gentle giant. He doesn't mean it. Just claim the contrary. How many players do they have now of ours? They've got Maguire. They've got Buxton.
They've got Mattock, but he's now out long-term injured.
Makes a nice change for the club, yeah.
They've got Maguire and Buxton. Is there nobody else that's from our squad or coaching team?
We've got the old scoreboard and obviously the owl that we took down to put our zebra sign up and all that.
The thing is, if Maguire scores, will he celebrate?
Of course he will, absolutely.
Yep.
He'll be straight over.
Do you think?
He will love it. He will love it. I think he'll get a bit of stick from Wednesday fans, and I don't think he deserves it.
No,
but
I
I think just because of the kind of character that he is, I think Buxton will get a great reaction. I assume that he's injured because it's Buxton. I think Maguire will get some stick and probably some boos. And we're taking like 2,500 this time, aren't we? So we will be the dominant noise in that stadium.
Will you boo him, James?
No, I won't. I've got nothing against the guy. He wanted to stay. It was. We put a reduced offer to him, and he felt he had to go. That's fair enough. I've got nothing against the lad.
I don't think
so
we should
I
boo
won't
him.
boo him
At all. I don't think we should.
But he is that
Fudge
kind
would.
of. We always said when he played.
He's a fact Derby County reserve.
Are we concerned about the fact that they've got kind of new manager bounce?
I'm concerned more so about Maguire. Because
he's
even
gonna
though I don't
score,
think he'll
isn't
celebrate, I think he'll prove his
Well,
point
we said this
big
about.
time.
He'll do nothing for 89 minutes and then he'll score from 40 yards. Because that's what he used to do for us. That's what he did against Barnsley and all those other games.
I always rated Maguire.
Nothing.
I did. And I do think that this is his chance to prove a point.
Said that about Gary Dean and nothing happened there. We said that about Stevie May and nothing happened there.
No, we didn't.
And obviously, we do have that sort of curse usually upon us, don't we? Where ex-Wednesday players come back and stick a couple in. But so far this season, the curse seems to have been lifted. Now I've said that, he's clearly going to get an hat-trick. But he is somewhat of a pantomime villain, isn't he, Maguire? I mean, obviously, we've all seen the photos and obviously there when we played Rotherham and he was giving it to the Rotherham fans something rotten, wasn't he? And I should imagine, if anything does happen, we're going to get it back as Wednesday nights as well.
That's why I always loved Maguire, though. He reminded me very much so of Dion Burton in the playoff semi-finals. And I remember saying, oh, God, I hate Dion Burton so much. I'd love him if he played for us when he played for Brentford. I was like, but I really, really hate him. And he's one of those sort of characters. And I think Maguire's the same, that you hate them, but you'd love them to play for you. And as it stands, he did play for us and we sacked him off for no particular reason, because I think he'd have been more than good with this season.
Yeah,
as a sub.
Oh, I've got to disagree with that because he was average at best.
No, he gave it his all, and he's a character. And I think sometimes, like we've got New Hugh now, and don't get me wrong, New Hugh is a character, but I do think sometimes you need that man in the team that's going to cause a bit of trouble, that's going to wind up the opposition. And I think that is Maguire, and I do dread to think what's going to happen tomorrow night.
I think we're better than that, as daft as it sounds. I think we don't need a play like that anymore. I mean, Leicester City, when they were pish in the Premier League, they relied on players like Robbie Savage to do that. And there's a lot to be said for the wind-up merchant in the team. But I think what we're trying to go for is dropping all that English wind-up merchant and you're a big lad, so you're number 10, 4-4-2 Sunday League crap. I think we're going for a continental, this is how we're going to play football. Look at Kieran Lee and Barry Bannon smashing these little balls between each other and flicking it on the wing and putting it on the big lad's head. You know what I mean? I think... You know what I mean? No, Chris Maguire can do one for all I care. A fat Derby County.
To be fair,
reserve.
Fudge, you've been saying that since actually we signed him, haven't you? So,
I'll tell you what it was. Chris Maguire was the first signing when Mandaric took us over. And we were all singing and dancing. We're all over Twitter, weren't we? Going, la, 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 look at us, we're loaded. You know, Mandy's going to sort it out. Oh, Mandy, you came and you gave it out.
Ah, it's like you're singing to my guinea pig. She's called Mandarich, but Mandy.
And he was the first signing. So amid all this hype, You know, we've got a bloke that looks like Hoggle from the Labyrinth in charge of our club, and you know, and we didn't sign, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo. We signed a fat Derby County reserve, a kid who, you know, a fat Scotch man who couldn't get into Derby County.
He's not fat.
He was
Nice.
rotund. If you Google any images of when, you know, when we signed him, he was a big stag. And let's not forget, he's only 5'2".
So am I, and I'm a big stag. Sit in my face.
You're not a professional footballer, and you've got what we like to call massive boobs. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, you're like, you know, you're a roll of gaffer tape away from being Chris Maguire.
Oh dear.
Can we just call that as moment of the season on the podcast so far?
Can I call HR?
Yeah, get the HR partner.
Swiftly moving on, if I could, again, just trying to drag us back to the game. Obviously, we mentioned earlier about they've got a new coach, and there is that new coach bounce, of course. Neil Redfern is a respected manager, not by Wednesday, it's obviously he's coached Leeds, but let's face it, he hasn't in the last 3 years. But they are just still Rotherham, aren't they? The one thing that Rotherham have is this ridiculousness that they think we're their big rivals, and we just don't care, do we? I think this goes back to what Fudge was saying about us and Arsenal. Obviously, we want to get at Arsenal, and Arsenal don't get too chuffs about us.
I do think that Rotherham see us like we see Leeds. I don't think Leeds give a crap about us. They really, they only care about Man United. We only particularly tiny little bit care about Sheffield United. And Rotherham seem to think that they are like a miniature Sheffield United, even though, a quarter of their squad is Wednesday. And I think that they really, really take it seriously. None of us give a crap. Let's be honest. It's just, you know, small town in Sheffield. Let's have it.
I think for me as well, Rotherham was always that second team that you used to support, as well as Wednesday. I don't know if anybody else used to do this, and
no.
Since I used to go and watch them when Wednesday weren't playing. So when I was back in Sheffield, I used to go and. In fact, Rotherham was easier to get to than Hillsborough. But a season ticket at Hillsborough, if there wasn't a game on, I'd go up Millmore.
And to be fair, I mean, when Rotherham were going through their troubles, I was sort of waving the flag and exactly, this is the thing. I mean, we all and why they hate us so much because of that, I shall never know. But again, we'll see what happens. I mean, the squad that Carlos is going to send out. Do you think we're going to see sort of more of the whole squad that we sent out there, or do you think we're going to see more of the QPR squad that we sent?
I think we'll see more of the Hull squad, to be honest, and I think we'll absolutely batter them.
Yeah, I think we will.
And it'll all be the referee's fault or whatever else, because they hate us. And there's no need to hate us. None of us give a toss. To anyone from Rotherham out there, nobody gives a shit. Bleat me out right now, whatever. But nobody does.
Just picking up on something that Carlos said in his pre-match interview today, which I thought was a really good point, where he said, we go into this games, or you could argue that we go into this game as favourite. We're much higher in the league. We're 7 games unbeaten. You know, they've been down their bottom end of the table pretty much all season so far. You look at the squads on paper, and we've got a lot more quality than they've got. But he said for a derby match, all that stuff goes out the window. It doesn't matter. You start as equals. You know, they're going to be up for this game. Yeah, we'll be up for it as well. But you know, they'll give that extra 10% because it's a derby match and it really matters to them.
They will give that extra 10%. You're right. However, what Rotherham need to realise is our players are faster, stronger, quicker, better, and more good with the football. Do you know what I mean? They can run around as much as they like. Sodom, we're going to batter them. They've got Neil Redfern in charge, for God's sake. So let's not forget that Neil Redfern is just rubbish. Do you know what I mean? There's no other word to describe him. Once he turns up at your football club, it's gone. I mean, I had a period in my career when I first went into bars and restaurants, and as soon as I turned up, I knew that restaurant would be closing in 3 weeks. I was the hatchet man. I had to go in and sack everybody. He's like Neil Redfern is the Dan Fudge of the
Apologies
football.
to all the staff down at Pop World Southampton. I'm sure you'll be standing on soon.
Can I just ask everyone a question with regards to Rotherham? Simple question, really. Striker, Nuhiu or Zhao?
Nuhiu.
Zhao had a fantastic game, though, didn't he? He really did. I'm going to say Zhao. I think Nuhiu might be just getting a little bit comfortable after the first few games, and I think it's about time of a push, so I'm going to go Zhao.
Yeah, I'd go Zhao as well. I think he's looked really useful in the games that I thought he was great against Hull. I thought he was good in the when he came on against QPR. And there's something to be said for having a player like Atty to come off the bench. If you're winning, he can hold the ball up. He's a good striker to have on the pitch when you're winning. And when you're losing, you just send him in there and say, don't matter how you do it, just score. Just get one of your scrappy goals, just do it.
I think it might be the other way around for me. I think Nuhu is a great striker to have on the pitch for 60 minutes, 65 minutes, and then bring Zhao on because he's a lot more explosive. And you know that for that last half an hour, you're going to get Yao running his blood to water like he did against Hull City. Do you know what I mean? So I'd quite happily go that way around. But like you said, James, a lot to be said for the other way around as well. So essentially, in answer to your question, I'm happy either way, mate. You know?
It really is. So yeah, again, on paper, this should be one we should be absolutely walloping. But as James said, it's seen as a derby, if you like. It doesn't always work out like that. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens, and hopefully the paper will come through and we'll just absolutely maul them. We'll see what's what. Right. So before we pop on to the Arsenal game, James, I believe you've got some little bits to show us this week.
Yeah, a few things that I've spotted on Twitter doing my rounds this week, which caught my eye. And I'm sure everyone saw this. It was last Sunday, I think it was, but it feels like such a long time ago now that we've all sort of forgotten. And I think it just deserves highlighting that Fernando Forestieri turned up at Ecclesfield Red Rose to watch the under-8s play. And apparently he was just passing and thought, I'll call in and watch them. How brilliant is that? He had photographs taken with everyone. I know we kind of talk about how lovely he seems and stuff, but it seems like he's actually genuinely a nice guy.
I think Forestieri is really becoming a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for his time at Watford and whether he was like that at Watford, but he genuinely really looks like he's having the best time playing for us. And if you were, in a continental Italian type and feeling a bit too big for your own boots, and then you meet all these Yorkshire folk that, there's just proper working class lads. Do you know what I mean? Going, here, come here, cock, I'll get you a beer and all this. I can imagine it being quite overwhelming, but he seems to have embraced it quite lovely. You know what I mean? And his celebration when he scored against Hull, I thought, well, this guy's really enjoying his football right now.
Agreed, yeah. He's settled in nicely, hasn't he? He kind of suits what our club's all about as well, which I think is really good. However, all the Fernando Forestieri stuff on Sunday and all the pictures from him turning up to see the under-8s paled into insignificance on Tuesday night with the appearance of one of my favourite photos of all time. So you imagine we've got friend of the podcast, David Garrido, close personal friend of mine. Still got that voicemail of me. And lead singer of Pulp, legend, Jarvis Cocker, together at the QPR match. It's a brilliant photograph. Jarvis is doing this slightly camp kind of fist punch.
He reminded me of Wolfie Smith from Citizen Smith.
It's just brilliant, isn't it? It's just the most wonderful photo ever.
Yeah, I think for me, it's David Garrido in the background. Just sort of going, hey, I'm here too. So,
he looks
sorry,
like
Dave.
He's just been like, hey, in the background.
I'm still here. Sorry, Dave. You're only the second most famous Sheffield Wednesday fan in this picture because Jarv's there.
I'm not even sure whether David was supposed to be on that photo, or is this just classic photo bombing?
Or he just happened to be sat there.
It is nice that obviously we hear about all these big fans, these big celebrities that follow Wednesday, and clearly they're still taking interest and still going to the games.
Another thing that I've spotted as well, and this has got a nice kind of factor to it. And I am, I'm 34 now. I'm getting a little broody. I'm not ashamed to admit that. And Daniel Poodle, who is, I think, without doubt now our favourite Wednesday player of all time.
Poodle.
He posted a brilliant photo. He's been down to the shop and he's got a Wednesday shirt for his son. He's got this shirt done with the word Danny on the back and his squad number 36.
Poodle does quite often post pictures of himself and his family on Twitter in the local parks and first say, at school and all that kind of thing. He generally seems like just a lovely family man, doesn't he?
They must, somehow or other, and I don't know how, they must really teach them quite well at Watford. Two players that we've taken off them that both seem incredibly well-mannered and nice and polite and just lovely.
Or is it the fact that London's such a shithole? They've finally come up and seen some lovely green parks.
Ah, that's it. It's the Yorkshire effect.
They've gone, Christ, you know what I mean? They've probably driven down Snake Pass to get to Manchester or come back the other way and gone, bloody hell, it is lovely here. You know what I mean?
Does it work the other way around? Were you like a really nice, calm, well-mannered, controlled person before you went down south?
You should have. I used to be a silver service waiter for about 6 years. You know what I mean? I was like, good evening, sir. How's it going? You all right? Yeah, nice to meet you. Oh, no, you tell me all about your That's lovely, that is. Yeah, that's mint. You know what I mean? I moved down here. Now people can't get at me way enough. I shout at people that work at cinemas because it's too hot in here.
It's the southern effect, old boy. You've been corrupted.
It is.
Yeah, it's nice to see. We hear so much bad press about footballers and what they get up to and this end of these days, and it's just lovely to see the nice side of football for a change. Right, so let's crack on. And of course, obviously we spoke earlier about what Rotherham think about us, and now the boot's on the other foot. The visit of Arsenal. It has to be said, tickets have flooded out for this game. I saw a little tweet from the official Wednesday Twitter page earlier on today, and 33,000 tickets sold already for this game. It's going to be a bouncing night, and again, we'd all like to see a little bit of payback for what happened way back when. But, I mean, do we think Arsenal give two chuffs about this game? Are we going to see a third-string team come out for Arsenal here?
I hope so, because then we can beat them.
As long as Olivier plays, I'm fine.
Is he on your list this week?
Oh, God, he's been on the list for the last 10 years. He's beautiful.
I mean, I'm excited to see big teams like that back at Hillsborough. It's, you know, we get them every now and again, they get peppered in, but this is one of the big ones. This is one of the big lads. And if we can just turn up and, you know, I'd be happy. As long as you just don't roll over. I mean, my missus is going nuts at my Sky planner because it's just full of Wednesday all. You know what I mean? This is amazing. All of a sudden, I'm getting to be known at this pub down here as drunk, slurry man. I mean, you know, James conducts his interviews at Charlie Brown's. I do mine in booth 10, curled up in a ball, crying in my beer.
There's a bit of class.
Hey, it was DC Cook, not Charlie Brown. Right.
My apologies to DC Cook and Charlie Brown's.
How much in our favour does it go that they're beat Bayern Munich during the week? Because from being dead and buried in the Champions League, there is now some hope for them. So this game takes on much less significance now. They can't afford to put out players that they're going to need for the other Bayern Munich game in a couple of weeks' time, can they?
I think it goes very much in our favour. I think
Absolutely.
From now on, Arsenal think, sod it, whoever Sheffield Wednesday, let's put out reserves. Which, to be honest, we would probably want them all on loan. Let's not lie.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see it. I'm looking forward to it. It's good. Win, lose, draw. I'm happy with it. It's going to be a good night. Let's just enjoy it. It's the first time in 20 years, 15 years that we've seen a team like that at Hillsborough putting up a show. Let's just enjoy it. Let's have a good time.
I agree with all of that, apart from the win, draw, lose bit, because I want us to absolutely demolish them. I know it's not going to happen, but I hate Arsenal. Absolutely hate Arsenal with a vengeance. And most of my friends don't understand why. And when I say, look, there was this thing that happened in 1993, and I went from being, you know, a nice, lovely, polite, well-mannered child to being an absolute git and stay like that for the rest of my life, because they just destroyed me in the space of 4 weeks. Arsenal wrecked my life.
See, I'm slightly
I want
younger.
revenge. I want some revenge.
I'm slightly younger, so for me, it's that game with Di Canio, where Martin Keown started that situation and never got any comeuppance from it.
It was before that. It was Patrick Vieira slapping Petter Rudy.
Yeah, there was that. But as far as I could see, it was Keown, and I've
a
hated
crime
him.
he's never been brought to account
him
for.
Ever since.
And
so let's get Lee Briscoe back. Let's
get
score
Lee
from
Briscoe
the corner
back.
of the box. Let's do it.
I tell you what, wouldn't it be good if both clubs invited, like, you know, Winterburn, Di Canio, Keown, Vieira down for give a bit of hospitality.
Alcock.
Yeah. What?
Alcott, the referee.
I thought you were being rude again.
Oh,
Sorry.
for God's
I must confess, having a little listen in to the Arsenal podcast with Alan Davis, of course, our nemesis in the amateur podcasting world, and it does seem that, I mean, first of all, hardly a mention whatsoever of the Sheffield Wednesday game coming up. Obviously, they've got bigger games to worry about. Though, speaking about the Bayern game, one sense I do get from a lot of Arsenal fans that we speak to is the big thing that they want is a Premier League. They yearn after, because they've not the Champions League every season. They go in, they get kicked out. That's how it is. They always make it to the Champions League, but they haven't won the Premiership for a long, long time. And to me, that's the thing that they seem to be focusing on this year. Obviously, Chelsea are terrible this year, so they're looking as though they're out of it already. City haven't been fantastically convincing, or in fact, there's nobody been particularly wonderful all season so far. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans are thinking this is the year where they can sneak in and get that Premiership title. Obviously, with the Champions League campaign going so well as well, this isn't going to be a top priority for them, is it? Surely.
Not at all. No. I think what we need to remember is the fact that, let's say we bring everybody back, we play 9-1 and put Big Dave up in front on his own. That's the formation. And we get a 1-0 win. If we beat Arsenal, right, ergo, that makes us better than Bayern Munich.
Conquers rules.
Ergo, they should just give us a Champions League spot
Absolutely.
next year.
And again,
Conquers rules.
I mean, obviously, when we went to Newcastle, the commentary that was put out there put us as a reserve side, if you like. And obviously, it wasn't exactly a reserve side, but it was Carlos doing his rotation business. What kind of squad do you think we're going to stick out against Arsenal?
It's an interesting question, that. I think Carlos is quite headstrong, and I think he will, in the same way that the Premier League teams in the early rounds of this competition always play their cup team, their cup keeper, and I think Carlos will be quite arrogant about it, and will say, no, I play Wildsmith in the cups, that's what we do, and I think that he'll make probably one or two changes. I don't think it'll be as many as we did at Newcastle, but I think he'll play Wildsmith in goal.
A testament to the lad, but that doesn't scare me in the slightest, because I think he's a cracking keeper, isn't he? And looking at our second string, if you like, obviously earlier you mentioned players like McGugan and things like that. Officially, McGugan is sort of top joint scorer at the moment. So if this is our second string, then bring them on. The Wednesday Week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. Right then, ladies and gents. So hopefully, obviously, Arsenal is going to be bouncing. It's going to be a cracking game. Obviously, if Arsenal do put their third string children out, the Hillsborough crowd will just scare the living poo out of them. And again, we'll go on to win the cup. Simple as that. Right. So one last thing before we do disappear for this evening. We've had an email. Podcasters, we've had an email. My word,
another one bursting at the seams. We should have a theme tune here saying Lord Hillsborough's massive sack. You know what I mean?
Chap down in Essex, Nick Thompson, who started the Essex Owls down there as well, just mentioned that obviously there's going to be a lot of Arsenal fans down there watching the game in the local there, and if any Wednesday fans down in Essex whatsoever that would like to get together for the game on there, probably in Chelmsford, to get on Twitter and contact at Essex Owls, and essentially bringing S6 to Essex on there. So get in touch. And
the only way is S6.
I would recommend going to the pub and helping these boys out, because I think the worst experience I've had with Sheffield Wednesday was the day we unceremoniously got relegated by Crystal Palace. And I was living in, if they call the Humber the mouth of the UK, if I was living in Croydon, which can only be described as the anus. And I was living there, and I get the train and the coach up with all these Palace fans and then come back with them. It was the worst experience of my damn life.
One other thing, of course, Nick is a fellow podcaster. If you're into your travel and things like that, you can go on the What the Pho Travel Podcast, that's PHO, and have a listening to Nick on his travels as well. Get all the podcasts at TWWcast as well. If you would like to join the massive sack of emails that we've got, you can do that at twwpodcast@gmail.com. It's been a pleasure as always, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we shall see you real soon.
There's a chance here, a great save, a turner from McClare. Might come, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just going to cough. Excuse me.
Put it on.
Looking at it from a... What's the word I'm looking for?
Rose tinted or unbiased.
That's
Unbiased.
it. So, of course, next thing, we're off down to QPR on a wonderful Tuesday night as well. Oh, it wasn't Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? What day is it?
Yeah, it was Tuesday.
Put myself on mute then when I started talking, idiots. Gives you a bit of sort of faith in Carlos's... what's the word where you switch players about? Chuffing, I can't talk tonight, me. What am I talking about?
How much have you had to drink?
Honestly.
Have you gone for the Eddie-sized box of wine?
You can also get all the podcasts at TWW Podcast as well. And
Whoa, you said that wrong.
oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm going to have to, honestly,
TWW
I'm back
Cast.
onto cordial next week. Of course, if you want to get all of me over there on the Twitter, you can do that at Lord_H. That's L0RD Honda_.
Please, can we keep these?
That's in the reel.